Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Prep for Wave Week. This is day 4, sales day. So this is one of 3 presentations that you're going to be seeing today. So thank you for being here. And this is really all about like sales foundations today. And really putting to focus that you are a travel seller first than a travel lover. I mean, travel loving is probably why you got into this industry, but it is not what is going to keep you in this industry and being profitable in this industry. You do need to be selling, and there's some essential and fundamental skills that you need to be aware of. And I am really excited about this conversation because we are digging in deep. Like I've said many times on many of these presentations, the people that I have brought on are giving it to you straight. So if you're ready for more straight talk, then let's welcome this session's speaker, Ann Smith.
Hi, how are you, Rita? Good to see you. Thank you for having me.
Likewise. Thank you for being here. Now, I know you because I had heard you on Travel Institute webinars before, but
Mhm.
can you give us all a little bit of background, how you got into the industry and what you do right now?
Sure, I'll keep it really brief. My name
Mhm.
is Ann Smith. I'm the owner of Travel and Events Extraordinaire, LLC in Columbia, Maryland. We've been in business for almost 20 years. Um, I do everything for travel, from romance travel to groups, accessible travel, and all inclusives. Those would be my niche markets that I am passionate about. I'm
Awesome.
also an instructor, a senior adjunct instructor at Howard Community College, where I teach travel and tourism. I teach special events and weddings, as well as the cruise ship industry. So I'm coming to you with a lot of good information. I do
Yes.
a lot of other things, but we'll just keep it to that so we can keep it brief and keep it moving.
Perfect. No, and that's for all you that are tuning in, like Ann and I had a conversation about a week ago before recording this, and I took a page of notes that I still have with me. So I guess before like we really get into things, I know people can misinterpret what sales is and what marketing is. So what would you distinguish as the differences between sales and marketing?
Sure. So the actual marketing is putting your product out there to the community, your circle of influence of how you're going to present yourself and your brand to your selling community. The sales part of it is what you do, all of those steps that you do repetitively to close your sales, to close your bookings, to generate your revenue. So they're
Mhm.
two totally, completely different things. One is more, I'd say, forward facing out to the public. The other one is more back of house, what you do in your day to day operations. That's how I describe it. Now, I'm sure there's definitions that are much more technical.
Yeah.
We're just going to try to keep it very simple.
Right, right. Because I would say that also marketing leads to sales.
Mhm.
Sales is what you want to get. I know marketing is a thing that a lot of people talk about. I mean, that's the world that I'm also in the support world, but it leads to selling. Like when I'm working with my clients who need my marketing services, the goal is always what do you need to sell? What needs to be converted? What do people
Correct.
need to be buying?
Correct.
And so how would you describe the sales process when we're defining it specifically for travel business and people who sell travel?
Each one is going to have a different aspect in how they approach their sales process.
Mhm.
It really is going to be depending upon what they actually are selling, it's going to create that for them a different path. So if I'm
Mhm.
selling only cruises, my uh, approach to selling cruises is going to be just a bit different than how I
Mhm.
would go about selling all inclusives. So there's just checklists that you want to make sure you have available to you so that you can get in there and be effective when you actually start the process of selling. That means having a really good foundation. For example, having a customer relationship management system is key,
Mhm.
because without one, you really are going to be dead in the water. I'm not saying you can't do this manually, but everything has moved digitally and electronically. And unfortunately, we will be left behind if we keep a dinosauric mentality. And we have to be able to have more of a phoenix rising mentality. We have to be able to keep it up with the times with electronics. So your CRM is important. Who you partner with to get your sales flowing from stage to stage is really key. So if
Mhm.
you have an itinerary building program, if you have an accounting building program, all of those things are precept upon precept. And that's what allows you to sell effortlessly. If
Yes.
you can have all your foundations together, you can really then focus on the actual task of selling. Then
Yes.
we get into a lot of different things.
Right. Right. Because that is not talked about a lot, I think, in the industry. The fact that we are selling something, we're
Correct.
providing a service, but we need to be making money from that service. And I know there's a big issue, for lack of a better word, in terms of charging fees, charging for our time, because we do get compensated with commission, but that's not enough. So where do you see is kind of either the disconnect or what needs to be connected or lit up to go from that travel lover, travel aficionado to travel seller?
One of the disconnects, I think I'm going to back you up just a bit. One of the disconnects is actually what the public is aware of and how we work
Mm-hmm.
as travel professionals. You know, it used to be hush hush where we really didn't discuss how the commission process worked, how we got paid. We really have to get over that. And it really is a mindset that is very antiquated.
Mm-hmm.
We are salespeople. We're no different than a car salesman or any other salesman. We know that when we go into a car dealership, we're going to have an exchange. And
Right.
we know that that person that we work with is going to earn a commission from the car that they sell.
Right.
No different. So when we are working with our clients, it really behooves us to say, hey, look, I'm going to charge my plan to go fee or whatever you want to call it,
Mm-hmm.
research fee, whatever. This is because my knowledge and my time in the industry is valuable. And what I'm going to give you is not something that you're going to get through going direct to the supplier that you would be working for. Yes, they're interested in putting you on board or putting you in their bed for an all inclusive, but all the other details that make your vacation what it is really comes from us. It
Right.
comes from our knowledge, our experience. And so that unfortunately is no longer a free service. Yes, there are people who still charge. There are some people who don't charge. Wherever you fit is where you fit in.
Right.
However, we're coming out of COVID. I've seen so
Mm.
many people work twice and gain zero. And I was one of them. And it was very painful. And
Mm-hmm.
Rita, I don't ever want to have to go through that again, where I don't charge something to keep my own lights on, to keep
Right.
my own refrigerator
Right.
filled, to have gas in my own vehicle. You know, I have to make sure that I'm taken care of first. So that 20 years of knowledge that I'm sitting on has a value. I can determine what that value is. And so that's the first thing, making sure that we make the consumer understand that we don't work for free.
Right.
So that's how I wanted to just address that. Now, give me the second part of your question.
So it was really about the disconnect between being a travel lover to
Mhm.
being a travel seller. And I love that you preface that with educating the public about what we do, because it just reminded me, I had a recent podcast interview where they asked me, like, how do I get paid? And at first I was like, do I say it? And I'm like, screw it. Like, it's going out there. We're going to be breaking the stereotypes, and I'm going to be doing a favor to all the travel industry, and I'm saying it. So I told her, I was like, well, we do get commissions from the suppliers that we work with, and then we also do charge fees for our time because we're working for you. So to make sure that we are working for you, our time needs to be compensated.
Correct. That's correct. And they often don't understand that that commission is going to be paid, whether it is paid to us or whether it's paid to an in-house travel advisor that they pick up and call direct to that supplier.
Right.
Someone's going to get paid because it's already determined in the price.
Right.
So once we get that elephant out the window. I'm going to quote my favorite entrepreneur on the planet, Sir Richard Branson. He says, "Screw it, just do it." And I swear, when you said that, that just made so much sense. We really just need to say, forget this old way of
Hmm.
keeping it quiet, because keeping it quiet is going to put our industry out of business.
Right.
I can't express it any other way.
Right. Right. There's, funnily enough, kind of talking about that. I had a friend reach out to me wanting to plan a group. I do fees a couple of different ways. She didn't want to go the fee route, but she kept asking me all these questions. I haven't heard from her. Essentially, I've been ghosted. I am not following up with her. I was like, normally I'd be like, oh, that's the service that I need to provide. I'm like, nope. I've learned enough, like, throughout the years. Like, she's not going to value my time anyway, so why should I reach out? I'll just wait for something else. Something else will pop along, or I'll meet somebody, or whatever else.
Yeah, I agree with that concept, because we can't chase what doesn't belong to us. And we have to know what business is ours and what business isn't. And if we
Hmm.
already are starting with them not valuing our time and not understanding how commission works or how fees work. I mean, do they question that their dentist charges fees, or that their doctor charges fees, or that their beautician charges fees, or
Right.
their automotive provider? I mean, we're no different. And I think letting the cat out the bag will really help propel our industry forward, so that we can all be on the same page and not
Right.
be divided. Some do fees, some don't do fees. While I understand, yes, there are seller of travel laws that require certain states to do certain things.
Right.
Work within those first, for sure. Never want to advise people to get in trouble. So
Right.
legally, you need to do what your state structure allows you to do.
Right.
But if you're in a state that allows you to do that, and in so charging that fee, you move from not just providing a service, but becoming a fiduciary, meaning that you have to put the client's needs first. You're
Hmm.
going to have to advocate for them because you take that fee. So it automatically makes it so much easier for you to get out of your own head, because you know every single decision and every single action that you make is for the betterment of that client's experience.
Right. Love that. Kind of, like, keeping along with this, what would you say is the skill set, or what are the things that we're not talking about, the industry isn't talking about, when we're thinking about skill set needed to have successful sales in the industry?
Can we sell? Hello? Can we take no? Can we take repeated no's? Do we know how to, as I mentioned to you last week, do you know how to close a sale, cross sell, upsell? And if you want to save a sale, down sell. How do you present your sales to your clients in a way that makes them want to say yes to you?
Hmm.
It's not a decision of, whether they can go anywhere they want. But why are they going to choose you
Right.
to book this vacation for them?
Hmm.
So I am of the firm mindset that if you have your ducks in a row, and this is going to be the webinar of euphemisms, I can tell already. If you have said ducks in that row, you will be able to close those sales by learning the ins and outs of doing what you need to do to sell.
Hmm.
Read books about selling. Um, go through Clea's class on selling cruises. Go through all of the individual cruise lines classes on selling their brands, because you
Hmm.
can't just assume that one brand's methodology of selling mass market is going to be the same as selling high end cruises. Completely
Right.
different. The terminology and the words that you use are going to be completely different. You're going after a completely different demographic
Right.
of people. So it's a matter of being able to change on the dime based off of what call you're receiving and the need that they have. And that comes through time, experience, practice, and repeat.
Yes. The rinse and the repeat. Because I'm also like a common theme that has been coming up as well, and I think this correlates a lot with sales, is knowing what you want to be selling. And once
Mhm.
you know that and who you're selling to, you'll be more effective, because I feel like some people have problems with converting people. They've gotten them to like a sales conversation and there's not the definite yes, like I want to book with you, send me an invoice and we'll get started.
Right. I do believe it has to fall into their wheelhouse first, unless they're a
Mhm.
generalist. A generalist can pretty much book everything, but they have to know a little bit about a lot of things, or they
Right.
can know a lot of things about a lot of things. But a niche market, you can really know a lot about one thing and be the expert in that one or few things. Like I said, I have four, but I've been doing this for a minute and I've learned what works for me. For me personally, I'm a romantic at heart. So anything dealing with romance, I am all over it. And that could be romance at sea or romance at land. So I have to
Mhm.
learn and know a lot about how to convey romance through travel or celebratory events that have a romantic component through travel. So they
Mhm.
have to really tap into, like, in the morning when they wake up and they put their feet on the ground, what is that one thing that if they could sell above everything that would give them joy? What is that one thing? So if that answer is cruises, okay, now we have to take that cruise and be specific. Are we talking you want mass market cruises or you want deluxe cruises? Do you want luxury or do you want super yacht cruises? Because there's certainly different avenues
Right.
within that category. So you
Right.
really have to hone in, drill down. And I also think it is important to know who your circle of influence is. Like, I'm going to put my arms out, and whoever I can touch immediately within my first circle of influence are going to be those that I can really convert quickly to
Mhm.
sales, and then let them have the experience of working with me, and then set them free to
Yes.
become my Pied Piper to bring me
Yes.
more sales.
Yes.
That's one way to grow a business. You can do the whole marketing with Facebook, which is really good. Google is another method with which you can get connected. But you're going to have to drill down and know what your analytics are and know what your target market is so that you're going after the right people.
Right.
If you're if for example, let's say you go towards, let's say, a golf niche, but then you are marketing towards mostly females in a younger demographic, are you really going after the people that you should be going after?
Right.
Probably not, because you have to know who is golfing and you have to know where they are and how you can reach them.
Right.
So, same thing for me. I have to know where my romance travelers are. So, I'm always searching who just got engaged, who's looking for honeymoons, what are the mothers and the fathers of the brides doing? I'm always checking, seeing
Ooh.
who's posting what and putting them in my analytics. So, I have a big keyword search that I use.
Uh-huh.
And it really helps me to target my advertising that I'm doing on Facebook and on Google Business.
Ooh, I am loving that, because yes, we're talking about sales, making sure that the conversion happens, but there's a lot of foundational things that need to happen even before
Mhm.
that. Because even thinking about branding, what kind of influence do you think that a business's branding has?
Well, everything.
What's branding to you? What does branding mean first
I
before we get
mean,
into that?
branding is making sure that you present, your brand in
Hmm.
all ways, in all at all times. It means that you're going to have consistency across all your channels. So
Hmm.
all your social media should match your website, should match how you show up in email and in text messages, how you communicate. It really is one whole brand package. That's why
Right.
it's called a brand package and a kit. They all feed off of each other, and it allows them, your clients that you're going after, to remember you as the brand. you know Mercedes-Benz doesn't have to do much because you know what you're going to get with a Mercedes-Benz,
Right. Right.
right? They know their brand, they know their demographic, they're going after who they're going after. If they try to go after Jettas, they're in the wrong market.
Yeah.
Not that there's anything wrong with the Jetta,
Right.
that's not their market.
Right.
So you have to know who you're going after, and your brand really opens the door for you to be as professional as you can be, to put your best foot forward. And I even will say, when I'm working with travel professionals coming into this industry, I know it's difficult getting, you know, you're bootstrapping your business,
Hmm.
especially if you don't have income and revenue coming in immediately. And if you're having to use your own money, I get it. But the most important first thing that you can do to drive your money, to spend your money to drive your sales, is to have a professional email address. I can't stress that enough. Have your own .com. It doesn't take much to get your own domain name and your own website email address. That will set you apart automatically. And
Hmm.
then it allows you to have a foundation to build your whole brand upon, because
Hmm.
you don't know where you're going to be until you're there. But if you don't set up where you are now to where you want to be, you're not going to be what you need when you get to growing your business at its greatest scale,
Right.
because you're thinking short instead of long distance, if that
Right.
makes sense.
Right. No, I love that. I think that's like an amazing piece of advice. And I know a lot of people are hard pressed on getting that and making that investment, but there's certain investments that like really go the distance. Because do I want to be speaking with Rita travel agent at gmail.com, or do I want to be speaking with Rita at ritaventures.net?
Well, that's all I'm gonna say to that. And I work with a lot of travel advisors in my role as a chapter director to really help them to see that that one difference, that one change makes a big difference. It
Hmm.
takes you from hobbyist to professional overnight. Just that one thing.
Yes.
So there's that. And then I partner with really good people, really good business brands that help people brand their whole business, from the signage to their t-shirts to their business cards, which I don't have one in front of me.
Hmm.
So I have really good contacts that I use to really help them not be the norm, but to stand out, because there's so
Right.
many of us. It's not just okay to put something together through desktop publishing. You
Right.
need that to cut through all the clutter and all the noise of the
Right.
internet. And then all the people that they know that are travel professionals, you have to cut through. And trust me when I tell you, my business card cuts through a lot of, oh no, I'm not going to use them. I'm going to use her, because I
Right.
see on her business card she's about her business. And that's
Right.
the difference. How you present yourself publicly makes a difference.
Right, because you say that, and I'm starting to think about a lot of brands that I just see. This is within the travel industry without. And certain brands that I'm attracted to is if like they have bright colors, if they seem fun, if they're personable, they feel like comfortable. It's kind of like how I wanted to make my brand feel. Elevated but comfortable, elevated but not stuffy. That you know that there's a lot of value that I can offer, but I'm also a really fun person. We're going to do amazing things together.
Right.
And that may not be you, and that's okay. But your brand has to convey that. And that's with colors, that's with fonts, that's with imagery.
Absolutely.
It's everything. It's a feeling. There's things that are involved in branding, but it's a feeling that it elicits. It's a dream that
Absolutely.
it drives up.
Absolutely. I completely chose my business colors of this blue and yellow because it's the sunset and the sunrise, but it's also the
Ah,
turquoise blues of the tropical destinations that I sell. So everything that I do is based around those calming, warm, inviting
yes.
tropical colors, so that when you see me, you know I'm all about let's putting you someplace on a tropical island.
Yes.
So if I wasn't selling that, there are other color schemes, absolutely, that can be done. I'm telling you about mine and how I chose mine, because
Hmm.
blue and yellow are very calming, very relaxing colors. And that's the atmosphere that I want to envelop. I
Yes.
want them to envelop is just their hustle, their bustle, their busyness, their parents, their workers, their business owners. They need a space to be able to just relax
Mm-hmm.
and just have a moment to regroup. And
Yes.
when they look at my colors, that's what I want them to be able to just take a breath and say, she's got me, because
Yeah.
she understands what it is that I need.
Yes.
And 9 times out of 10, we're looking for sales, but we're not looking to understand what the client needs out of this vacation experience. So
Right.
therefore, we try to take a stamp and say, the same, the same, the same, the same. It's not.
Right.
Every single client is different, and we have to treat them differently in our sales process. That's why, for me, I could tell you my sales process, but then I'm going to have to ask you, well, who am I selling to? Because that's
Mm-hmm.
going to be different. And what are they going through in life? Because that's going to be different. So
Mm-hmm.
if someone is coming to me and they're memorializing a client or memorializing somebody in their family, then that client becomes somebody that I have to step up my empathy and be patient and know that they may not respond to me easily or quickly. And I know I have to do something extra for them that I may not have to do for somebody else. So my sales process will have to change on the dime. But if you don't know what you don't know, how do you get what you need? That's
Mm-hmm.
when you attend the trainings that you need to attend through CLIA, through the Travel Institute, through all of the tour operators, suppliers. I mean, my week, every week, I have at least 5 webinars that I'm attending. Last week alone, I was at, I'd say, 6 different industry events locally because I need to stay connected. My pulse needs to be on what's happening in the industry so that I can give my best and most current information to my clients.
Yes.
Make sense?
Yeah. Totally, totally. So, kind of going back to skill sets, what would you say are specific skills that are needed with the mentality that we are sellers to convert people to make the sale?
Oh, goodness. Where do we start?
Mm-hmm.
Administration is key because you must be organized. You have to have a system in place that allows you to organize multiple events and clients and destinations and resorts and cruise lines. You have
Yes.
to have an organized system. That's why I said the foundation of having a CRM and have these other um, components really help you to stand out.
Hmm.
Um, it truly goes down to what do you want your client's experience to be, and how can you set your business up successfully to make sure they get what they need. So
Hmm.
you have to be 100% ready to go in your operations, in your accounting, in your process of how they are connecting with you. Do your links work on your website? Do your links work when you want to request a payment? All these little things that can make or break your sale have to work before you can even start putting it to bed and say, yes, I have this revenue that I can estimate
Hmm.
in my ROI or whatever, my year over year, whatever. You need to be able to make sure you have that sale. If you
Hmm.
lose them in the process because a broken link doesn't work, and if you don't understand how to walk a client through your own systems, that's a big challenge. I will just give you this one quick example. I have a lot of senior clients, and I know when I work with my senior clients, I have to service them differently. And that I know I need to wear my hat of patience. I
Hmm.
need to wear my hat of understanding that they may not be as technologically savvy. And
Hmm.
I know that I have to know my system inside and out because they're going to call me saying, man, how do I get through this on your app? How do I do this? How do I do that? So before I even introduce it to them, I'm troubleshooting, making sure everything in my app and in my world works before I even give it out to my clients. We have
Okay.
to know how our systems work to be able
Yes.
to effectively explain it to others to make their process seamless.
Yes, no, and I'm like smiling here because I'm like, and that's why I developed Prep for Wave Week how I did, where we're starting with foundations, then operations, then marketing, and then we go into our sales because that's just the flow of setting up for things. Talking about skills too, I think something that you're saying without actually saying is how important empathy is.
So
Not
very,
only for just being with each other in the industry, but for our clients and for our supplier partners. Empathy can have an expiration date. But I think it's really important to lead from the heart, lead from the soul, to really understand who we're working with, because I think that just enhances the relationship that's being built.
absolutely. I think Simon Sinek says it best. What is your why? And empathy comes with knowing what your why is.
Mm-hmm.
When I first started my business, I did not really know what my driving factor was. What was my driving reason for starting this particular business? I could do multitude of things, but why specifically this business?
Mm-hmm.
And then it hit me 15 years later. I have been operating my business without my why for 15 years. I'm like, oh. But when the light bulb came on, Rita, oh my goodness, it just changed my whole perception and my whole attack of
Right.
how I run my business.
Right.
And I'll quickly give it to you. Here's my why. I grew up without any celebrations in my childhood.
Mm-hmm.
I did not know how impactful that would be in my adulthood.
Mm-hmm.
I knew I could plan events, eyes closed, hands tied behind my back, and I do the same for travel. But I didn't know the why. And the why is because I never want people to feel empathy, never want people to feel what I had to feel because I didn't grow up having celebrations, birthdays, holidays, all of those different things.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want people to feel that way. So empathy comes from me knowing that every missed event that I could have had now gets thrown into every single event that I plan for my clients. And through them, I live vicariously. Now,
Yes.
did I anticipate that that was going to be my why? I thought it was going to be this, glorious, grandiose thing. It is for me. My why is
It
important
is
for me.
glorious.
It
Yeah.
is. It is. And now that I can embrace it, it allows me to just sit into the pocket of how I run my business. And it
Yes.
allows me to just have a level of comfort knowing that of all the things I could be doing, I'm doing the thing that helps so many people celebrate their life's milestones. That is priceless.
That,
That is
well,
priceless.
and then like you just get into the feeling because it's so, we relate on so many different things because you were saying that and I'm like, because one of my whys is I was in not a great job position. And I just remember it kind of clicked, and I was like, I never want people to feel like this, like they are insignificant, that their voice doesn't matter. I never want that to happen. So if I can create experiences, aka retreats on cruise ships, then that's what I'm going to do because every person matters, no matter like what their position is within a company or within a business or on a team. Everybody matters.
Everybody matters.
And that's
Every
like
single person.
tuning into that. Just, I mean, tuning in, like hearing yours lit me up highly. And so it's just infectious, like when you can really tune in why you do the things that you do, because it's more important. Maybe not more important, but it's bigger than just wanting to make a paycheck and support
Absolutely.
yourself.
Absolutely. This before COVID, I'd say this was not the driving factor was not me making money.
Mm-hmm.
I can make money doing a lot of different things.
Right.
So it's not that can't be my driving factor.
Right.
My driving factor is when I wake up in the morning, What am I most excited about doing and spending 8 hours doing? And whose lives can I impact the most in those 8 hours? Now, that might be one group that I'm working on. That might be 8 groups that I'm working on.
Mm.
They're all going to have a piece of me that pushes their group or their event or their travel to the next level.
Mm-hmm.
And knock on wood, Rita, I'm in business 20 years, so I must be doing something right.
Right.
I must be tapping in to what the needs are of my clients because they keep referring me, they keep coming back to me, and my
Right.
business has mainly grown off of word of mouth. And it was only after COVID that I had to start actually physically marketing. Ooh,
I
I say ooh
know.
in a good way, but I mean, I've learned so much. I'm taking some marketing classes and I'm expanding.
Yes.
But it's so great to have a business that has grown organically
Right.
because of the empathy that you show people.
Yes.
I could, I'm going to end on saying this last thing of all the events that I've planned, and I've planned a lot of destination travel events. The ones that really get me are the ones that come to me, and this is not my niche, but I swear I may end up making it my niche. And if somebody beats me to it, I'm at it because there's enough to go around. But here's my thing. The one that really gets to me, I had two. These people were about to be at the end of their life, and they needed to make their final bucket list travel. And I'm good.
I know.
I
I
try to do this
know.
every single time. Okay, I'm not gonna cry, but I might. Um, they came to me with this need. They wanted to go to Hawaii. One wanted to go to Disney World. I put my other agent on the Disney World one, and I took care of the Hawaii one. They almost were back to back. I have never felt so more honored than in planning someone's exit bucket list vacation. I
Mhm.
can't even. I'm trying not to
That I'm trying to
because
hold back.
it just this is going to be the last thing, the last memories they remember,
Hmm.
and that is an honor, and that is why I wake up every single morning and do what I do because I never know when that phone's going to ring, and it's going to be another experience like that.
Hmm. And that's why love of selling travel is not enough. And it's not what fuels you. It's the
That's
mask. It's an
that's right.
easy mask. You have to tap in. And I know it's hard for people to tap in. And I'm a big crier myself. So when I tap in, the emotions come out. And so I feel like if emotions are coming out, you're doing the right thing or you're on the right track as to what exactly is your why and what's motivating you to stay in this business and keeping on doing it.
Thank you, Rita. Well, I'm so honored to just even be included amongst your project. And I know that you're going to have some amazing speakers before and after me. And I can just only hope that together we're going to change the industry and make it what it needs to be moving forward because we need to get rid of some of the old ways of doing business because they
Right.
just don't work anymore. They just don't.
Agreed.
So.
Agreed. Well, thank you, Anne, so much for being here. How can people stay in touch with you or even work with you?
Oh, absolutely. You can go on my website, which is www.ceetravels.com. If you need me to do something along the lines of what Rita's doing, I have a Speaking of Ann Smith page under my About Us, and you can reach me there. And then you could also give me a phone call. That works too. It still works, the phone. 443-250-2666. So I would love to be able to work with you, whether you're, an industry partner or whether you are a travel agent. I work with both, and my goal is to really just bring education wherever it fits.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for being here, Anne, and travel advisors, sellers, coaches, suppliers, even if you're tuning in. Thanks for being here. This is again day 4 sales day. And if you have purchased the study hall pass upgrade, I will see you between 3 and 4 p.m. Eastern for some co-working, talking about this session and all the other sessions today on sales day. So thank you again for being here, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye.
Bye.